My name is Jason Woods, and I'm a professional adaptive motocross rider. Adaptive. What's adaptive? Modifying according to changing circumstances. I guess you could say I've adapted to my circumstances. I was actually leaving for a what they call a Loretta Lynn qualifier. I had all my stuff packed up and ready to go that morning, and I woke up, had a slight cold, and I thought, oh gosh, all this training and everything that I've done to get to this point, I want to go to the doctor right now so I can get this sickness knocked out of me and go on to the race. About 20 minutes later, I was at the doctor's office, and he looked at me kind of funny, and he said, I think we ought to do some blood work for you. And I was like, well, okay. And I thought that was kind of weird, but I could see it in his eyes that something wasn't right. It was about a 10-minute walk from his office building to the hospital. Whenever I reached the hospital, I could no longer walk. They had to put me in a wheelchair. About 10 minutes later, I couldn't even sit up in a wheelchair. I actually had to lay down in the carpet. And they ended up putting me in the emergency room, and at that point, I don't remember anything for 2 weeks. Whenever I woke up, my wife was standing in front of me, and she actually had a belly on her, and I didn't realize that I'd been out for that long. In the 2 weeks period, a girl that's pregnant, I guess they can their belly can get quite large in 2 weeks. So that was the first surreal moment I had. And as I looked down at my body, I could see all the tubes and the wires connected to me, and my hands were kind of wrapped up, and I just didn't know really what was going on at that moment in time. While I was in the hospital, I actually learned that I'd flatlined once for 20 seconds, and I'd had 2 heart attacks. And they say anything over 10 seconds, you will have some sort of brain damage of some kind. I had what they called Sepsis-NDIC. It's a very rare blood disorder. There's very few people in the U.S. that actually has survived this. They lose legs, arms, limbs. They said that I was going to lose my leg and both my arms from the elbows down, and both of my ears and my nose. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to look horrendous without those limbs. And it actually happened that they only had to amputate my toes, all of my toes, and it looks actually like you took an axe and just chopped them right off is what it looks like. And it drew my hands up into a fist, and they had to amputate a lot of my fingers. Some of them almost are fully amputated, the others are half. And I remember the first time that I was able to get down the stairs myself, which took probably 45 minutes for me to do. We have a set of stairs in our home that goes into a lower level where I keep my bike and all my gear and tools. I actually just kind of kneeled down on the bike, and I said, you know, Lord, I'll sell everything and I'll be fine with it. And I actually did. I sold everything I had twice, and every time, for whatever reason, the deal fell through, and I ended up keeping it. And I was like, Lord, you know, why can't I sell this stuff? We need the money right now. We have medical bills that's unbelievable. I just want to sell it. But he had a bigger purpose for me and a plan. I actually remember the first time that I was able to get up on the bike, which took some effort. I actually had to have somebody lift me up on it, and one of my friends kind of picked me up real gently like and set me on it, and I was like, you know what, I wonder if I can ride again. So I got on the phone and got in contact with a company called Revlock out of Denver, Colorado, that they have automatic clutches. And I'll never forget the first day that we had the bike put together and cranked up and ready to go. There was probably 6, 7 people there and watching me, and I actually rode around my yard a couple of times, and I thought, oh my gosh, you know, I can do this. The X Games, it was actually an X Games qualifier at this event, and I thought, well, X Games, that's really cool, and so I wanted to go up there and participate in it. I did. I ended up qualifying for the X Games and went on to California and winning the bronze medal in the X Games, and I just could not believe that. It was unreal, and just how the Lord just really blessed me through this sickness and all the pain that I've been through with the skin grafts, the burns on my arms due to the blood poisoning that was in my system. It was really, really neat, and I just thank the Lord for blessing me and for saving me.